Game of Thrones may be ending in 2019, but the Song of Ice and Fire will continue. HBO's greenlit a prequel series about Westeros' Age of Heroes, helmed by Jane Goldman and George R.R. Martin himself. Now here's what we think the show could be about, and furthermore, what it should be about. But first, a little history lesson. The Age of Heroes started around 10,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones. It began with the Pact, an alliance between the First Men, these guys, and the Children of the Forest, these kids right here. This led to the rise of the big noble houses of Westeros, like the Starks and Lannisters. Palace intrigue was rampant, old gods were worshipped, rules of hospitality made only to be later broken.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Then came the Long Night. You know, that whole winter is coming thing Ned Stark loved to ramble about. The White Walkers invaded while riding these really awesome ice spiders that haven't been on the show yet. Things got really cold and bleak and dead, and then eventually the first Night's Watch beat them back, building the wall to keep them out for good? After that, the Andals showed up direct from Essos, brought the Faith of the Seven with them, and thought it would be cool to go to war with, well, everybody. Now all that spans about 4,000 years, and there's no way a TV show is going to delve into all of that. So which time period do we think Age of Heroes is going to focus on? There are a couple options. We could see something around here, watching all the empires that rose and fell before the houses as we know them were formed. It could be cool and would be new territory for the franchise, but it also could be a bit boring. This time period feels a bit like our Dark Ages. A little culture, lots of squabbling, and not many ice dragons. Or we could see the start of the Long Night, watching how the first White Walker invasion hit Westeros. But that does risk having the show feel like a wash, rinse, and repeat of the original series. Now, I think the most ideal place to start this new show is right here, at the Battle for the Dawn, the end of the Long Night. First, you got all the major players. Brandon the Builder, or someone like him, creating House Stark, his buddy during God's Grief building Storm's End, Azor Ahai fulfilling his prophecy with Lightbringer, and the original Night's King. A second, having it set around that time lets us explore an unknown yet critical piece of Game of Thrones history, the Old Empire of Gis. Powerful empire in Essos that created the slave trade and fighting pits that Daenerys fought so hard against. Much of their history is mysterious and open to exploration. Plus, if we focus some on Old Gis, we could learn more about the Shadowlands like Asai, Melisandre's dark and mysterious homeland, which is rumored to be the actual birthplace of Valyria's dragons. Finally, starting the show at the Battle of the Dawn would essentially make it a continuation of Game of Thrones, but set thousands of years in the past. Assuming our heroes are able to defeat the White Walkers by the end of Season 8, Game of Thrones will end on reconstruction that we won't really get to see. In this show, we'd be on the tail end of the previous White Walker invasion and see how Westeros suffered and recovered from such a tragedy. A new show with a familiar continuity. Right now, the Age of Heroes series is in the early stages, and it'll likely be a while before we learn about what's to come. But in the meantime, we still got winter, and yeah, it's definitely